Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the McConaughey at YouTube with another model video. Today I have gotten my hands on 4D 1/72 kits. 4D is a very cheap manufacturer from China, and they release these $2-esque cheap friendly kids snap models. They're not very accurate. They've got the same chassis and wheels, yet change the tops and details to do a variety of tanks. So they're all the same size, though have some incorrect details, gaps, or mistakes. Due to how cheap they are, they're really perfect for modifying and changing around to build mechanisumos or kit bash to the point where an unusual subject not in plastic can be fleshed out in a suitable scale model. The subject matter of this particular kit is a AS-90 Self Propelled Gun via the United Kingdom. It is a fairly modern piece of equipment on the current theatre of war. I do not know a lot about it besides that it's probably one of the best pieces out there currently. The kit contains the box, very basic instructions inside, and a bag of parts. The bag contains the hull, the tracks, which I like that's moulded in a loop, wheels, and runner for the hull and parts required for the hull. It is almost completely snap fit. The plastic seems to be reclaimed ABS, extremely gritty. May require a bit of polish with a finer sandpaper to get a smooth surface if a cast hull-like texture is not appropriate. It is pre-coloured with some sort of effort of camouflage painted. It does look somewhat passable assembled, but you may want to do more painting and work. Now, some of the details were quite inappropriate, such as pickaxe and shovels. Far too large. They were carved off, sanded back, and filled with putty. The front and back had a tiny gap. This was filled with styrene to mimic reference material downloaded off Google. The crevice underneath the gun was filled with putty, as well as some other areas. An appropriate calibered machine gun was also glued on top. Maybe the incorrect error, though a lot closer to the stumpy thing that came with it. A bit of styrene was also added on the very top of the wheels. And the finished result we received is quite passable and acceptable. I don't mind the look of this at all. Hit it with some very thick automotive primer. Super cheap auto brand in multiple coats, and gave it a bit of a polish. I have to say that the top and rear has some very nice, chunky, extremely deep detail. This shows that this model would be ideal for hand painting with beginners. The majority of the gluing of the pieces together were done by super glue. Do not think plastic cement will suffice. A few extra details were added after the priming stage, as well as two aerials at the far back for a little more realism. Once all of that was done, I got my hands on some Gaia Note Surfacer Evo Oxidized Red to prime the bits that have not been primed, as well as change the colours to this pretty accurate tank undercoat. Using an airbrush and Mr. Hobby lacquer paint, I modulated dark green, Russian green, and duck egg to get a modulated colour effect of a military green scheme. Then, after a gloss coat, applied SMS liquid mask to get a hard edge camouflage scheme as per reference material downloaded off Google. This did take a little while. Once completely dried, dusted on a couple of tones of desert yellow, brown, and tan for the appropriate military desert scheme. After the mask was removed, appropriate details such as the machine gun, antennas, and tank tracks were hand painted in appropriate colours. Further dusting was done with black, and a black and other washes were sludge washed to bring out some detail and heavy definition. Decals were applied, some military and girls and Panzer. Afterwards, a gloss followed by a few coats of SMS matte clear were applied to achieve an ideal finish. This project was just a quickie. I bought a few of these tanks to experiment in parts and build the few that are not common or can be found in 70-second styrene kits, especially modern armour. Since all the chassis are the same and some tanks can be smaller or different periods cannot work out in a proper 70-second subject, the newer ones such as the Abram and this piece can somewhat work with quite a bit of effort. If you're looking for scratch building bases, materials, Mecha Musume fodder, these are really ideal. You can buy them very cheap. They're very fun. They're very good to do a tongue-in-cheek play around with. If you're looking for historical correctness, you can keep bashing it until you get something, or you can probably just look at a more appropriate subject. All in all, this one came out good. It is one of the better ones by 4D. Some of them are probably a little more poor in proportion and detail, especially anything from World War II and the MR113. That one's a bit of a shocker. Really, really good as scratch build or fun fodder. Not to be taken seriously for historical content unless modern subjects where they are roughly the appropriate size. 4D covers other subjects such as ships, which are okay. They come pre-coloured and look good as is, but more painting can be done. The aircraft is a bit shocking, but their 1/6 scale guns are absolutely superb. They're really, really good. You can probably add them to your gunpla or figure collection. But I did have a lot of fun. I think this definitely stands out and stands on its own with the amount of work put in with the rest of my armour collection. And we'll see what will come of the rest in other builds I do in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Check out Facebook for more photos and work in progresses. The other links may send you to interesting other sources, so check out the description section. If you have any questions, you wish to interact, I'm always happy to answer questions and talk in the chat. We will see you guys next time. Stay tuned for more armour and tutorial videos once a week. See ya.